Are rising prices making your life harder? In 2024, inflation in Pakistan is hitting record highs and it's affecting everything from your grocery bill to fuel costs. But why is this happening? And more importantly, what can be done about it? Today, we are diving deep into inflation in Pakistan. What's causing it, how it's impacting everyday life, and what step can be taken to fix this growing problem. Whether you are a concerned citizen, a business owner, or just someone trying to get by, this video will help you understand the key issues behind inflation and what lies ahead. I am Saeed Salat, and with years of experience following Pakistan's economic trends, I'm here to break down this complex issue in simple terms so we can all make sense of it. Number one, what is inflation? First, let's start with the basics. What exactly is inflation? Inflation is the rate at which prices for goods and services rise, eroding purchasing power. In Pakistan, we measure this using the Consumer Price Index or CPI. Essentially, as inflation increases, the cost of living goes up while the value of your money decreases. Example, so that rupees 100 you use or rupee 1000 that you use to spend on groceries last year, it would probably buys a lot less now. Number two, cause of inflation in Pakistan. Inflation doesn't just happen overnight. It's the result of multiple factors coming together to create a storm of rising prices. So what are the primary causes of inflation in Pakistan in 2024? First, currency depreciation. One of the biggest drivers of inflation right now is the Pakistani Rupee losing value against major currencies like the US dollar. A weaker rupee makes imports more expensive, which includes everything from oil to essential food items. Since Pakistan imports a large portion of its goods, this hits hard, raising the cost of daily necessities. Second, global energy prices. Pakistan is heavily dependent on imported fuel. In 2024, global oil prices have surged due to geopolitical tensions and supply chain disruptions. Since energy is a core input in every sector, from transportation to manufacturing, any rise in oil prices causes a ripple effect throughout the economy, making everything more expensive. Third, supply chain disruptions. The world is still recovering from the pandemic, and ongoing conflicts in key regions are causing supply chain bottlenecks. These disruptions increase the cost of getting goods to market, whether it's food, medicine, or consumer products. Delayed shipments and scarcity means prices soar. Fourth, fiscal deficit and excessive borrowing. Pakistan has a significant fiscal deficit. The government is spending more than it earns. To cover this gap, it borrows heavily, which floods the market with money. This increased money supply without a corresponding increase in goods and services pushes prices up. Fifth, agricultural shortfalls. Pakistan's agriculture sector, a backbone of the economy, is facing challenges such as water shortages, outdated farming techniques, and inconsistent policies. Poor harvests leads to higher food prices, exacerbating inflation. When basic staples like wheat, sugar, and vegetables become scarce or expensive, inflation hits the hardest. These causes aren't isolated. They interact and feed into one another, creating a vicious cycle. But understanding the reasons behind inflation is the first step towards addressing it. Let's now look at how this inflation is impacting our everyday lives and the broader economy. Point number 3. Effects of inflation on the economy and society. Inflation doesn't just hurt the economy on paper, it has real, painful consequences for people across Pakistan. Let's break down how inflation affects both the economy and society. First, decline in purchasing power. The most immediate effect of inflation is that your money buys less. Whether it is groceries, fuel, or rent, everything costs more. Families are forced to make tough choices, cutting back on essentials just to get by. What once was a comfortable income no longer covers basic needs, leading to a significant decline in the standard of living. Second, rising poverty levels. As prices rise, more people slip below the poverty line. Lower income households who already spend a large portion of their income on food and fuel are the most vulnerable. Inflation widens the gap between the rich and the poor, intensifying inequality across society. Third, business struggles and job losses. For business, inflation is a double-edged sword. Rising costs for raw materials and energy led to higher production expenses. Small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, which form the backbone of Pakistan's economy, are particularly affected. Many are forced to either raise prices, risking losing customers, or cut jobs to stay afloat. Unemployment, in turn, adds to economic instability. Fourth, impact on savings and investments. Inflation erodes the value of savings. People who have worked hard to save find that their money doesn't stretch as far as it used to. The same is true for investments. With rising costs, individuals and businesses are less likely to invest in long-term projects, slowing economic growth even further. Fifth, strain on government services. The government faces increased costs as inflation drives up the price of public services like healthcare, education, and infrastructure development. The pressure to deliver more with less leads to deteriorating services, further frustrating the public and widening the trust gap between the people and the government. The effects of inflation are deep and far reaching, touching every aspect of life. But all is not lost. There are solutions, and if implemented correctly, they can help ease the burden on both the economy and the people. Now let's talk about the point number 4 and the last one. Solutions to combat inflation. So how do we fix this? There's no quick fix to inflation, but with the right strategies, we can mitigate its effects and start rebuilding stability. Let's look at some solutions that could help Pakistan tackle inflation head on. First, strengthening monetary policy. The State Bank of Pakistan plays a critical role in managing inflation. By carefully raising interest rates, the central bank can control the money supply, making borrowing more expensive and reducing spending. This helps curb inflation, though it must be done cautiously to avoid stifling economic growth. A balanced approach is key here, tight enough to control inflation, but not so tight that it chokes off investment and consumer spending. Second, stabilizing the exchange rate. A stable Pakistan rupee is essential to controlling inflation. The government should focus on policies that strengthen the rupee by improving foreign exchange reserves and promoting exports. This could include boosting industries like textile, agriculture, and technology, which bring in foreign currency. A stronger rupee makes imports cheaper, helping to bring prices down. Third, reducing energy dependence. Energy is at the heart of inflation. To bring down costs, Pakistan must invest in renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and hydroelectric power. This will reduce our reliance on imported oil and gas, which are subject to global price fluctuations. By developing more efficient energy infrastructure, we can lower production costs and make everyday goods more affordable. Fourth, fiscal discipline and reducing debt. The government must practice fiscal discipline. This means cutting down on unnecessary spending and focusing on sectors that drive long-term economic growth like education, healthcare, and infrastructure. By reducing its reliance on borrowing and widening the tax base, the government can manage its fiscal deficit more effectively, easing inflationary pressure. Fifth, improving agriculture productivity. Agriculture is one of the most vital sectors of Pakistan's economy, and improving productivity here can significantly help lower food prices. The government should focus on modernizing farming techniques, providing better access to water resources, and reducing waste in the food supply chain. These steps would lead to more stable food supplies and lower costs. making life easier for millions of Pakistanis. Sixth, ensuring political stability and long-term policies. Finally, no economic strategy can succeed without political stability. Investors, both local and international, need confidence in the country's direction. The government must focus on long-term, consistent policies that promote business growth and economic stability. When businesses have confidence in the future, they invest more, creating jobs and boosting the economy. In conclusion, we can say, while inflation is a challenging issue, it's not insurmountable. With strong monetary policies, investment in renewable energy, fiscal responsibility, and political stability, Pakistan can get its inflation crisis under control. The road ahead won't be easy, but by taking decisive actions now, we can lay the foundation for a more stable, prosperous future. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What solution do you think can help curb inflation in Pakistan? And don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth economic discussions. Before we move on, I'd love to know, how is inflation affecting you? Leave a comment below and share your experience. To wrap up things up, inflation in Pakistan is a complex issue with many contributory factors. From global supply chain disruptions to local fiscal policies. But with the right strategies, we can tackle inflation head on. It's essential to stay informed and push for the reforms needed to stabilize our economy and improve our lives. If you found this video insightful, make sure to share it with friends and family. Let's spread awareness about the causes and solutions to inflation in Pakistan. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care, bye bye, and Allah Hafiz.